My name is Mark Huntenar, and this is my persuasive essay for English 30502. Dr. Sarah Littlejohn. Today is 11 February 2014. Title of my persuasive essay is The Rise of Technology and the Death of Rhetoric. In the 1860s, a writer for the Pony Express could deliver a letter from Joseph, Missouri to Sacramento, California in 10 days. That was considered their fast mail service. The average speed of the horse, 38 miles an hour. Let's fast forward 150 years, past delivery by rail, telegraph, vehicle, and air to the new information age. In the age of the internet, we can hit the send button on our email account and send an electronic email almost anywhere in the world at an average speed of 2,000 miles per second. Welcome to the speed of the new information age. Just 30 or 40 years ago, the average American had access to 12 television channels, 3 news networks, 1 or 2 daily newspapers, and a handful of newsstand publications. Let's fast forward past Cablevision, the 24-hour news cycle, and video rentals to the new information age. The average American now has access to hundreds of channels and thousands of websites, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Once considered an art form, most modern Americans don't write lengthy letters anymore. We don't limit ourselves to telephone conversations when we talk to family and friends. Most of us will never meet in a public forum to discuss the issues of the day. Less than 1% of us will ever write an editorial, contact our elected representative, or ever have to defend our freedom or reputation in a courtroom or other public forum. Instead, we text, we tweet, we Skype, and we blog. And should we dare venture into an online blog, the modern equivalent of a public forum, unless we limit ourselves to the New York Review of Books or National Geographic Online, we'd find that many of these blogs are not particularly civil, well-informed, or well-moderated. Instead of arguments being advanced by ethos, logos, and pathos, they are instead supported by snark, sarcasm, insult, hyperbole, false equivalencies, and faulty logic. They are frustratingly democratic. Flat earthers, Hollywood Holocaust deniers, conspiracy theorists, black helicopter types share equal footing with college professors and other professionals. And this doesn't even include individuals who are just angry or bored, whose only intent is to create havoc online. The modern day equivalent of an Athenian forum heckler or firebomber. Even more sinister are the armies of individuals who are professionally paid to create havoc online. And it's not necessarily a bad strategy for those who are paying them. Their only intent is that they create so much havoc that serious discussions about controversial issues like fracking, gun control, global warming, or healthcare are drowned in nonsensical white noise, effectively killing all meaningful discussion. Confronted by this chaos, many of us move in the completely opposite direction and make a deliberate decision to get our news, information, and entertainment only from sources that completely mirror our own worldview, choosing to exist in a vast echo chamber of our own making. This reminds me of the reporter who in 2003 asked a White House spokesman if the war was going well or if the war was going extremely well. All hope abandoned any who attempt to penetrate these self-created, self-perpetuating echo chambers. So I ask you, has the rise of technology resulted in the death of meaningful public discourse? Some would argue that just the opposite, that these online forums of truths, half-truths, and truth out of context, and the fair and balanced television debates, which are usually neither particularly fair nor particularly balanced, are instead the highest representative of true democratic discourse. That true discourse, like freedom, is supposed to be messy. For that matter, they may continue that public discourse shouldn't be limited to only the well-informed, the well-meaning, or the well-educated. Some may also doubt the effects or the meaningful effects of the new information age, that the exponential growth of information, the hundreds of television channels, the thousands of websites, that this is largely an illusion, or at least at the individual level, it's an illusion. The reasoning being that individuals by necessity must self-edit, must decide what they like and what they don't like, and in spite of the ocean of available information at their fingertips will ultimately get their news, information, and entertainment from only a handful of sources. But herein lies the problem. Sometimes too much information can be as bad as no information. The ease with which individuals can now reinforce their own worldviews without engaging in challenging, honest, and meaningful, respectful public discourse has replaced reliable opinion with self-delusion. And regarding those messy democratic online public forums, while democracy means diversity of opinion, neither Plato nor Aristotle ever advocated for the mob to advance public discourse. So perhaps my question should be rephrased. Instead of asking if the rise of modern technology has resulted in the death of meaningful public discourse, instead I should ask if the rise of modern technology has created or revealed a public discourse that relies not on the Aristotelian concepts of ethos, pathos, and logos, but instead more closely follows Kenneth Burke's model of rhetoric, in which rhetoric is advanced by symbolism, the need for identity, and primal emotion. In the new information age, even a 15 or 30-second ad or a one-line blog post can utilize all three of these elements. With a minimum of text and image and sound, I would argue that we are bombarded with hundreds, if not thousands, of symbols every day that are not only obvious and crass or humorous, but also subtle, primal, and archetypal. That this symbolism is always there, whether we're aware of it or not. The second element that Burke talks about, the need for human identity. This craving for identity explains the hundreds of online communities, some of them purviews for academic or political discourse, but many more of them based on little more than a sharing of a curious or strange opinion or worldview. The craving to belong and find others who share our beliefs, values, and ideas is a much more powerful force for persuasion than Aristotelian logic and facts. Both the village idiot and the one-eyed man can be kings online in the world of the internet by simply surrounding themselves by others who completely share and agree with their worldviews. The third element, which Burke says is the model for public rhetoric, which drives public rhetoric, primal emotions, fear, anger, love, happiness, frustration, and joy. While these forces have always existed in public discourse to sway crowds or to shape public opinion, the new information age and the relative anonymity of the internet, when anonymity is desired, has unleashed the beast in regards to the civility or lack of civility of public debate. In the new information age, these primal emotions can be summoned and evoked much more quickly and much more powerfully than cold logic, reasonableness, or an appeal to our better natures. Kenneth Burke's model of the forces that drive discourse, symbolism, the need for identity, and primal emotions. This is the equation of the new public rhetoric. Oddly, the individuals who sell us Coca-Cola, Nike shoes, and car insurance embraced this paradigm a long time ago. As that Florentinian Niccolo Machiavelli wrote 500 years ago, there's a difference between what one should do and what one needs to do. Like skilled advertisers, anyone engaged in public rhetoric or public discourse needs to embrace Burke's model of rhetoric and the basic truths it uncovers and how individuals relate to each other and relate to the world.